Sunday morning. It's the main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and you know him as 17-year NFL veteran, three-time Super Bowl champion for your Dallas Cowboys, and he's just waiting for the FBI to come do a morning raid on him. Dale Hellestrae's here, everybody.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Stevie.
You came in a little nervous today. You came in looking around the corner.
Sports always gives us something to talk about, doesn't it? Who thought you'd be driving into work this morning going, oh,
wake up.
This is going to happen.
Wake up and see the Miami Heat player has been arrested, Terry Rozier.
Just crazy.
And then like, oh, another name's coming. And you're like, oh, another player's going to get nailed. No, the head coach. Head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, Dale. Yeah.
But that doesn't seem like it was on sports.
No. So poker.
Yes.
Poker, apparently.
But obviously, if you get involved with these mob families, then you happen to take a hit.
That's the key.
Yeah.
The mafia. They're illegal gambling, poker, the mob.
Yes.
Which, I'm not going to lie to you, that's always been the thing around. Doesn't that raise the thing of you get in sideways with the mob and then all of a sudden you're having to throw games a little bit?
Yes.
Doesn't-
That's a likely path because especially if they're rigging the poker games.
Yes. And then, I saw people this morning posting videos of Rozier like turning the ball over just inexplicably, losing a handle on the ball late in games and stuff like that. And it's just like slippery slope there for them. But could you imagine you're the Portland Trailblazers today? And you wake up as an owner, and you're like, season's off. We got some good players this year. Got rid of Ayton. That's the Lakers' problem now. All of that stuff. Oh, it's going to be a good year. Excuse me, what?
Absolutely
Our head coach,
unbelievable.
Our head coach is where?
And Rozier's in the final season of basically a $100 million contract.
Oh, yeah. I looked up their stats this morning because I was curious. Chauncey Billups, head coach of the Trailblazers. Well, possibly was the head coach of the Trailblazers. He's earned over $106 million just in his playing career, 17 NBA seasons. And he's in the $4 to $5 million range as a head coach.
And signed an extension in April.
Yes. Terry Rozier, $133 million over his 10-year NBA career. I think it's a 10-year. This is his 11th, I think. He's under contract right now. $26.6 million with the Miami Heat. And arrested for an illegal gambling ring. And I will say this about the Fed. Say what you want. You can be like, oh, that can't be true, whatever. I can tell you this. The FBI, the federal government, they make sure their ducks are in a row before they make a move like this. They have something like a 90-something percentage rate of conviction, like a high 90%. Because they don't act on stuff unless they can almost guarantee.
Oh yeah, they're not arresting especially high-profile people like you and I.
Yes,
but
even you and I mean, they have a 90%. But now, at first my first thought was, well, maybe they're going after the mafia. But I'm like, you wouldn't arrest them as a high-profile, to get them to flip. You would work that behind the scenes kind of a deal. So if you were looking on that side, so initially, allegedly, they've done all this stuff. But good luck to them because it's not in their favor, is what we're looking at here this morning.
That's just.
Well,
again,
it's like those football players that make millions of dollars and then they get pulled over with hundreds of pounds of weed in the back of their car or something. Back in the day, and it's like, what are you doing?
Well, you need a post-career job, Steve.
I was just driving. What do you mean there's stuff in my... Who put that in my trunk?
At least Nate Newton had retired. These guys are still getting paid.
Well, that's the thing. Retirement's another story. I think it was a football player that got... and it wasn't Nate Newton because that was after career. But I think there was somebody that was actually playing still.
Really?
That got nailed with a bunch of stuff in his trunk and things.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't remember that.
It might not have been football. It might have been another sport.
Don't disparage football players, Steve. Probably a soccer player.
Yeah. I actually didn't even think about Nate Newton in as post-career thing. But yeah, so there you go, Dale. That's what we woke up to this morning.
Yes. I mean, and again, if you're the NBA, aren't you sitting here going, "Oh my goodness,
Well,
are these really the only two?
well, that's the problem.
Are these really the only
That's
two?"
the problem.
And again, I've always said this when it comes to gambling. I was listening to Holmberg on the way in a little bit, and he threw my name out there and brought a private conversation public.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to go back and listen to that.
And because they're talking about gambling, and they're going, hey, there was this ASU player. There's this ASU player in basketball back in the 90s.
Headache Smith?
And for a minute, they were going, and then they'd move on or whatever. And
then they came back to SMU?
No, we were never there for gambling.
I know.
But I just texted in Headache Smith.
Yeah.
And they all three of them, I guess, about the same time. Oh, yeah, Headache Smith and Dale Hellestray. And I always wondered, obviously gambling wasn't that big of a deal in the 80s and 90s.
It was in the shadow.
Yes.
It wasn't even in the shadows. It was in the back room, smoke-filled back room. You had to knock 3 times to get in.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
It
was prevalent, don't get me wrong, but it was very, very, very hidden.
I always wondered why, if they're looking for something, a position, a player, or whatever to try and affect a game.
Why a lineman?
Why not go to a long snapper?
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know.
Obviously, most long snappers are making league minimum, whatever that minimum is.
Nowadays.
Now it's almost up to $1 million.
That's what I was going to say. I know a bunch of them that are making well over $1 million, $1.5, $2 million.
Not a whole lot.
The Cardinals one is.
Yeah. Well, there's also you get increases as a veteran
every year. Every year you're in there.
But a long snapper can affect a game probably almost as much as anybody on the football field.
Sail a snap over the head.
Or bounce one in the dirt or whatever, and 3 points could be effective.
Yeah. I didn't even think about field goals. I was just thinking about punting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's always the skilled guys, right, out there. So the FBI had a press conference this morning as well. 34 total people arrested.
Okay.
Years-long investigation, 11 states, tens of millions of dollars as well. So the official allegations are investigations related to illegal sports betting and rigging poker games backed by the mafia. So it is the press conference that came out that it is illegal sports betting that this group is involved in.
Okay.
Whereas originally this morning before the press conference, it was just poker games.
Right.
Yeah, so the FBI and Kash Patel did a press conference 30 minutes ago or so, so they did specifically say illegal sports betting.
See, what's interesting about that is players play poker for money on flights, in hotels.
Yeah.
Why don't you just play as players?
That's the thing. Well,
why are you getting mixed up with the mob?
Well, here's the deal. It goes on. Rozier, he was arrested Thursday morning at a hotel in Orlando. He's accused of participating in an illegal sports betting scheme using private inside NBA information.
Yep.
The Miami Heat lost last night to Orlando as well. Rozier did not play, though, due to coach's decision. Yeah. I mean, there's no way they were tipped off ahead of time. I can tell you that right now. But then David Silver, the commissioner the other day, said, we've asked our betting partners to cut back on in-game parlays and individual stats, individual bets on players. He said that just 2 days ago.
Player prop bets.
Yes. He said, we've asked our gambling partners to cut back on that stuff. And then now this comes out. I mean, I'd be shocked if the FBI or anybody had a hint that these guys were about to go down in this raid. But isn't it ironic? Isn't it weird how this is all popping up?
Yeah.
And then you hear about this today as well. So then Chauncey Billups, he's charged in a separate indictment, wide-ranging scheme to rig underground poker games that were backed by mafia families. So 2 different Rozier, NBA information, inside NBA information's not good.
Right.
For him as well. Yeah. So former Cavaliers player and assistant coach Damon Jones, he was arrested also in this deal. Inside information about NBA games to co-defendants who used it to place sports bets. as well. So another basketball player as well. But the NBA is good at doing one thing, Dale. That's sweeping things under the rug. Like their NBA scandal, they laid that on one referee only. There are referees to this day that were texting and calling. The one NBA ref that was rogue, there are referees still refereeing today that called him before games, after games, and talked to him, and they escaped all the punishment. So the NBA is really good at putting a bit on this, putting a bow on this stuff and wrapping it up and go, oh, it was only those guys.
Well, and evidently, according to this article, sports books in multiple states. Again, it's some of the things are like so stupid. So multiple states flagged suspicious betting interest on Rozier's statistics ahead of the Hornets-Pelicans game on March 23rd, 2023.
So there basically was a lot of bets specifically on him. That was unusual.
An unexpected surge of bets, including 30 wagers in 45 minutes from a professional bettor totaling $14,000, came in on the under of Rozier's points, rebounds, and assists, causing sportsbooks to halt betting on the veteran guard. Yeah. Rozier played 10 minutes that game, and then he came out.
That was that the game where he had the injury?
It just says played 10 minutes.
I think that was the game where he went out when he had an injury out there. I mean, people don't realize this. Here's the thing. The mafia guys aren't the guys that get busted in this stuff.
No.
It's the people that do it, underneath the mafia guys that get busted in it a lot of the time there as well. So Rozier's attorney, his name's Jim Trusty, he previously told ESPN that his client met with the NBA and the FBI officials multiple times in 2023. The NBA then said they looked into it and did not find any league rules were broken. Well, NBA, you should have looked a little bit harder. You should have just picked up the rug instead of just sweeping underneath it.
Well, I have a feeling maybe the NBA doesn't have access to some of the same people that
they have
the
access.
FBI does.
They have access to many law enforcement stuff, and I can tell you this right off the bat: their gambling sites, even Las Vegas, will turn you in.
Oh yeah!
If you go up and you put an abnormal bet, even if it's legit and you don't know anything, but I just go up there and I go, Mark Williams is going to play 70 minutes tonight, and score 800 points. And I go, I'll put 10 grand on it. And they take that bet. They're going to flag that, even if it's legit, even if there's no something out. They're going to flag that and send it off for somebody to look into. They will turn you in 2 seconds because they have to, one. And then two, they don't want shenanigans happening.
No.
It ruins their business out there as well. So they will turn you in.
Why?
But they won't just turn you into the FBI. They'll turn you into the leagues too. Remember all those NFL guys getting busted because they logged in on a team flight?
Yeah.
That was the sports books telling the NFL that they were logging in on team flights and in the locker rooms and on processes and stuff like that. They have access to that information. I'm really skeptical that the NBA was like, oh, there's nothing to see here.
But you're thinking of a March 23rd game, so dog days of the NBA season.
Nothing happening.
And it's the Hornets and the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? And all of a sudden, whoever this guy was, he couldn't just bet $500. He had to make multiple bets and 30 bets in 45 minutes.
And 13,000. That's what people don't know. Like that's how what SEC school got caught gambling? Was it Tennessee? One of them their coach got caught gambling just like 2 years ago, last year or 2 years ago. And it was because like the money that goes into college baseball is very minuscule.
Right.
Very minuscule.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're getting like $10,000, $15,000 bets on it, and everybody's like, "All right, hold up,
something's
up right now." If you put a $15,000 bet in the NFL, it doesn't blink an eye,
right?
That happens every day, but not every sport gets that, obviously, as you go on that side. So, and don't forget, I mean, Toronto Raptors center, what was his name? Porter, I think it was. He got busted for gambling as well, banned from the NBA. And his gambling scheme around player prop bets. So it's a prevalent thing.
How much did you say Rozier's making this year?
20. It's his last year of his deal. I have it. Let me find it again here. It's one of my clips here. He's making $26.6 million with Miami. This
So
year.
how much money does somebody have to offer you
That's my question.
to go? Yeah, I'll share. Hey, you know what?
Do you think it's about money though, or do you think it's about? It's got to be. What else would it be about?
Here's the other thing. He could. This story could be deeper, and he could have lost a lot of money.
That's what I'm saying.
Doing something.
He's $20 million in the hold of the wrong person, and they go, well, instead of paying us back,
yes,
why don't you give us information, and then we'll make tenfold with you telling us who's out, who's in.
And maybe this game you play 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, it even goes to the point of playoffs come, and you go, hey, why don't you make a phone call and tell me if so-and-so is playing in this game or not? And if the answer is no, you put all your money down beforehand, right? And, before it becomes public info and the lines move a little bit more and stuff like that. But and then the interesting side of this, in college football, or college sports, did you see this? They're now allowing college players to bet on professional sports now. This is going to be fascinating. How much more of this are we going to see? Because once you open that up, it's just going to slide.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't betting on college. I just looked to see what our odds were, going into this game.
I just think during my season, if I'm a gambler, I mean, you and I are small. Nobody's ever going to flag our bets. Hey, McCollum bet $5 on the under.
I moved my bag up to $10, by the way, recently. So I went from 5 to 10, and they're all they're panicking right now.
Yeah. Hey, flag McCollum's account. He's doubling his bets.
I won like a total, because I was doing some boost stuff I had last weekend, and I won like $100 and something total.
Go ahead.
Yeah, FanDuel's freaking out right now. No, it's not. It's the abnormal.
Yes.
It's the abnormal bets that, like, if I go from 10 to like 300, they're not going to flag that. It's the ones where, like I said, it's even, UFC, NBA gets some big numbers there, but college football, big numbers as well. So it doesn't really move it if you do, $5, $10,000. But some of these sports just don't get that money, and most of the other ones don't get that money into it.
But and the other thing is, it is, I think, what raises their attention level to panic level is when a lot of money is put on
quickly,
kind of an obscure guy,
yes,
in an obscure game, and you're betting individual props.
Well, and then like how did it say they did? I'm trying to remember what you said. Didn't it say they did? It was like it was like a big amount in like a 30-minute span.
It was $14,000 in a 45-minute span.
Yeah, that'll raise it.
30 wagers.
That'll.
Yeah.
Because that's either one guy putting 30 bets down, or that's 30 different people that are pretty confident he's not going to play his whole minutes. Oh my goodness, who would have thought that? I just can't get it, man. It's just, you just sit back and, just the amount of money these guys have made. Chauncey Billups, I mean, Rozier's playing career it is now, but it wasn't done after this year. He probably would have kept playing. Chauncey Billups was going to have a good team in Portland this year and everything, and now he's a Hall of Famer. He's a basketball Hall of Famer, Chauncey Billups, folks. What are you doing? What are you doing? The backroom poker dealings, I'm not going to say it's okay, but what I'm going to say is I can almost understand that. What I don't get, if it's true, Rozier giving NBA inside information to people, because that is beaten into you galore. Like, I know a bunch of high school kids right now, and, I ask them all the time, I go, hey, so-and-so playing this weekend? When so-and-so come back? And, like, you can see their hesitation to be like, So it's beaten into their heads what they can talk about and what they can. I just don't get it. That's what I don't get right there. It's just, what are we doing? What are you doing?
Well, and I didn't realize this. I don't even believe we talked about it. Gilbert Arenas back in July got arrested for running an illegal poker game.
Yep.
And he was involved with some Israeli organized crime group.
That's how he got. It was an outside crime family, and it.
Are you even taking that? Aren't you looking at that number on your phone and saying Israel? I don't know anybody from Israel.
Well, here's like you said though, it's one of those where hey, you owe us this. You're going to do this for us instead of paying us back. And that's what happened to Headache Smith. Remember, with ASU. He got in on the wrong side of guys, and they're like, here's your two options. This is what you're going to do or not. That's how they get you. That's why going down that gambling trek behind the scenes, if you have influence and stuff, is a sign. That's why they say don't gamble on. Pete Rose, he wasn't just betting for his own self. And he got some pressure put on him.
He said he never bet against his team.
Yeah, but you had enough information on other teams, and that you have access to stuff on other teams that we just don't get. Outside.
No, here's what it was, Steve. Is that he didn't bet on his team every game.
Yeah.
And he bet on his team to win.
When they were going to win.
So when he felt good about it, yes, he only bet his team to win, but he only placed 40 bets.
Yeah.
So, again, that's akin to saying, okay, so the other 120 games, you thought there's a good chance you're going to lose.
Yes. It's just – and Rozier wasn't even with the Heat when in 2023. He was with somebody else, wasn't he? He got traded to the Heat, I think, after that year. So that is somebody else that you have to fight with as well, or what you have to deal with from that side. So I don't know, man. Something I didn't think I'd wake up to today.
Well, and talk about this arenas, I completely forgot about back in 2009, him and one of his teammates got involved in an incident in a team plane poker game.
Well, yeah.
They both brought guns to the locker room.
Yeah, they brought the guns. That was when they brought the guns to the locker room.
Wow.
Afterwards, yeah. Well, I mean, that happened in the NFL. The quarterback of the Raiders right now, it was with Seattle for a while, Geno, got knocked out and when he was with the Jets because he owed a gambling debt to somebody and didn't pay him. So the player went and knocked him out, broke his jaw. Just not good.
No.
Not good on a bunch of levels.
No.
And everything. And, Terry, look, guys, if you don't want your $106 million in career earnings, there's other people that will gladly take it.
Well, you just wonder how much of that,
Right.
will it come out? Was he in deep debt? The rumors, never anything substantiated about Phil Mickelson.
Well, Michael Jordan, the reason he retired was the gamblers killed his dad on the highway there, and Jordan had to leave basketball for a little bit to let that cool down.
And I think David Stern had supposedly told him, hey, why don't you just disappear for a couple years?
Yep, and then come back. Let that settle a little bit. No, it's a real serious deal.
Yes.
But the whole point of this is to that's why bringing gambling legal is supposed to help out with that. So you're not going behind the scenes. That's the thing. How many places can you go to play poker legally right now? I mean, just here in Phoenix. 4, 5 casinos you can go to play poker. What are you going to a back room high stakes deal with mafia people and everything? I don't get it.
I'd love to have been a fly on the wall when the first time they decided, I'm gonna get into business with this Israeli crime ring.
I don't. But my point is I don't think you purposely go into business with them. Is my point. You get it starts off innocent where you don't know it, and then it goes to some point, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, man, we're going to have to turn you in. You just did this. And you're like, oh, please don't. And they're like, all right, now you got to do this for me. And then it just snowballs from there, and then you're in too deep. And then they're threatening to off you or your family or something if you don't do it. And I think that's, I don't know. I watch too much movies.
It'll be interesting to see what more information comes out.
Yeah, but 34 total people, 3 directly, at least at one time associated with the NBA, including that coach that's no longer, from what I understand, that coach isn't coaching right now either as well. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, former Cleveland Cavaliers player and assistant coach Damon Jones. So, but 3 based around the NBA. You cannot, I'm just shocked. I mean, I listened to David Stern the other day, not David Stern, Adam Silver.
Yeah.
Jeez. Talking the other day about how they've asked their gambling partners to cut back on player props. And now it's like, what? And then this, what?
Yeah.
Can't be a coincidence, can it?
You would think that, as you said, every professional team has an FBI guy retired, usually working.
I mean, I learned that with the Cardinals pretty quickly when I went in there. He's retired since, but I had some problems with some of the officers that were working in the parking lots and stuff. Or not just, that wasn't me. It was like our tailgate group and everything. And Cardinals wanted to talk to me. I went in there, and that dude was like, I'm a retired cop and blah, blah, blah. And you could just see on his desk, like, he's like, oh, yeah. He goes, this is our reports after every game. And it was a stack like this big of incidents that happened on the stadium. He says, we have to fill out all this stuff for the FBI every week. And we have to do, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, he goes, I can contact the FBI directly, high levels of the FBI. And I was just like, what? For a football game?
Oh, yeah. I knew the one with Dallas, super nice guy, but he could find out just about anything.
Hey, what were you doing the other night, Dale Hellstray? Oh, nothing. He goes, really?
Yeah.
Really? You're gonna say nothing, huh? You said this at this time.
and he found out things about 24 hours before everybody else did.
That's the problem. And then when it hits the news media, it's like, it's like, what? That's why sometimes when the Michael Irvin stuff would come out, some of it was fake, of course, and made up, but it always kind of amazed me because I was like, why are they allowing him to go out if there's even a possibility of this without somebody
right
there to watch over him, if I could put it that way. You know what I mean? Turn his head when he needs to, but keep him out of that stuff. Or at least if something comes out, you go, no, that wasn't the case. We had security there with him. It didn't happen, something to that effect. But you see that all the time and stuff to that effect. So, yeah, I don't know. It's something I didn't expect to wake up to last night. And I also didn't expect to wake up to the Suns coming back and winning that game last night. Boy, was that first half garbage for the Suns. Dale?
Yeah, but the thing that I'm going to take away from that game is they were so much fun to watch. They even when they were playing like doo-doo.
19 points in the first quarter.
Yes.
And they gave up 29 to Sacramento.
But it wasn't like last year where they're playing Ole. I mean, they were trying. They were.
Grayson Allen looked good.
Yeah. And
I honestly thought, I even said it. We were watching it at a sports bar grabbing dinner last night, me and Autumn, and I even said, I go, they just look disjointed.
Yes. And
first game.
They're missing a lot of shots.
Yeah.
But they're getting a lot of second chance points too.
It's not easy hitting shots in the morgue.
Yeah.
A little chilly. Dead bodies all around you.
But the one takeaway I had, even if they would have lost that game, number one, I never realized how much I like Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, you were kind of like, before the game. Now you like him?
Oh,
you see him get in the face of the Kings players? Like, there's some toughness to this team now.
But when's the last time that ever happened?
Never happened.
Before.
And last couple of years at least.
6 stitches. He took an elbow in practice.
Yeah.
I mean,
I loved his press conference. He had a headband on and just a big gauze underneath the headband.
I mean, if that's Kevin Durant, if that's some of these past guys, they're out for a week.
Yeah.
I can't play with stitches in my head.
He'll be back out there. He's like, oh, that guy touched me. Do it. And he's like, touch me again. I dare you. You're gonna fall in love with him. Now he's gonna do stuff that's gonna be absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
There's gonna be points of times this year where we're all gonna go like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but it's our stupid.
That's the thing. You'll like it because of what it brings up, and does all that stuff. But I mean, they turned around in that second half. I mean, that big run in the third quarter to get them back into it.
Yeah.
36 points scored. But I mean, they shut down. Sacramento scored 29 points in the first, 42 in the second quarter, and 21 and 24. Like, they clamped down on them in the second half. That's the other side. That's the other thing that I'm taking out of this game. One, this team played hard throughout even when it wasn't going well. Suns last year, Suns the year before, they didn't start the game well. The rest of the game was garbage.
Oh, definitely.
They got hit in the mouth. They cowered. And they were just like, why are we out? Let's just get this over with and move on to the next game.
Yep.
And last night they kept fighting through it. They kept fighting through it. Went on the run and eventually got the win on the backside. Like I said, it's one game from there. They clamped down. Defense got better, and that's the other point of it. We have a head coach that, one, players are listening to, at least early in the season. But then, two, he's obviously game planning and making changes during the game. Whereas last year, Coach Bud wasn't doing it. I think he was just drawing circles and trees and.
Tell me this: when's the last time that a Phoenix Suns team that you watched out rebounded their opponent 51-37?
Yeah, it's been a lot of years. Well, I told you they were the worst team in the NBA in points in the paint last year, or defending the paint last year. How many times did the Kings get into the middle of that lane and score points?
Not a whole lot.
I don't like Mark Williams being on a minutes count. But I like what they did to help out with that. They didn't start him, so he was able to go deeper into the game. If they would have started him, he would have been out of that game by halftime, hitting that minutes. But right in the third quarter, because they didn't start him, he was able to go later into the game with his 24 minutes last night. And he affected the end of that game as well, that second half of the game. So that's what I mean. It's like, oh, dear God, at least after one game, we have a coaching staff, Dale. We have one.
Yeah, but coach,
we have one.
You have a team that it looks like they have fun playing the game together. Young, you got youth, you got guys jumping and dunking. I mean, again, it was so refreshing to see that even if they would have lost that game, I would have walked away from it going, you know what? I'm going to have fun watching these guys play basketball, which is why your $90 is well spent. As you're bitching on.
I wasn't bitching. I was just saying It's just I'm sitting there, and normally it's more expensive than that. I don't remember what the regular price, but through October 31st, and people go, just get the antenna for your house. Here's the problem. I'm not always home, and I like to watch the game. So I have to have it mobile too, and because it's over the air, because I don't have cable, I have to buy the service. But it's $89 through October 31st for just the Suns Plus, where you can watch all the Suns home games. Now the national ones you don't get to watch. The national ones, it's just you do have to go to ESPN or whatever channel it's on. But all the games like last night, I could watch it. I wasn't complaining about the $89. I was just complaining like it's hard to press the button by now. When even the commissioner's like, "Hey, poor people, just watch highlights." That's the only thing. That's all our league is good for, is just highlights. So don't spend money on us because just watch the highlights. It's hard to hit that pay now button when the commissioner's even telling you, don't pay for this. Just watch it on TikTok. That was my bigger point last night, Dale.
Well, good win on the way to 82-0.
Yeah, I saw your re-predictions this morning when I woke up. Yeah. Yeah, you on board now?
I feel really good about my overbet.
Well, here's the problem. You got to go to Los Angeles. You got Denver coming up. You got a hard beginning of the schedule here for the Suns.
Well, I don't know if the Clippers are hitting on all cylinders.
Oh, my dear God. Did you see that terrible? I didn't watch it, but did you see that terrible mess last night?
Yeah.
I normally buy the whole NBA package. You know what? This year I decided, I'm not going to lie to you. I just got the Suns Plus package for the $89 through October 31st. So if you're thinking about it, get on that because it goes up, obviously. But I usually get the whole NBA package, and I watch a lot of NBA games. And I didn't this year because the commissioner told me not to. Just catch highlights.
You don't ever listen.
No, I did last night. No. My biggest pet peeve is like when I'm about to buy something and you're about to buy it and the person you're about to buy it from talks you out of it. And you're like, okay, I guess I won't buy it then. Like, I was willing to give you my money and you don't want it? All right, see you later.
The Jazz lost to the the Jazz
Clippers.
beat the Clippers.
And it wasn't even close.
129-108.
Did you see Bradley Beal's performance in that game?
5 points.
Do you really have it pulled up?
Yeah.
Did he have 5? He got to 5,
points.
huh?
He got to 5.
Yeah. The Clippers are in so much trouble. It's so bad.
Yeah, but watch them have a players only meeting today and come out and take it to the Suns tomorrow night.
That's the problem. In LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got our first game at the morgue last night. Everybody's still calling it PHX Arena though, which does crack me up as well. The team that surprised me in terms of NBA stuff last night, Spurs. Spurs are going to be a force to be reckoned with this year, barring they stay healthy.
Yeah, if Webb and Giannis can stay healthy, look out.
I mean, then they beat Dallas last night, if you don't know, Cooper Flagg's debut. So I was paying attention to that game a little bit as well. But, Spurs. Wemby stays healthy with the other guys on that team's going to be a force. I'm not saying they're going to go win a championship. I'm saying they're going to do some damage this year, from that perspective. Then in the court, and then in the East, you know,
Well,
the
Wembanyama,
Knicks are going to
40
be well.
points, 15 rebounds.
You see his big dunk at the beginning of that game. Yeah, and the savior Cooper Flagg is out there struggling. He's gonna be a solid rookie this year. I like Cooper Flagg. It just sucks that he plays for Dallas. Can't root for him. Dale, you got to go take off. Go do your hit over there at KU PD
Yep.
with homework, and then you got to talk about all your whatever weird sexual stuff that homework's talking about right now.
And you get to spend an hour and a half with Stevie McCollum.
McCollum time.
All Steve, all the time.
McCollum time. I got you the rest of the show. We got a lot of Kenny Dillingham stuff coming up for you guys. NFL stuff really quick. Vikings, Chargers. Who you got tonight? Going to be one of our picks. Thursday night football at L.A. Vikings are starting Carson Wentz.
Give me the Chargers.
All righty. I got the Chargers also tonight. I'll talk a little bit more about that, and that mainly because Carson Wentz is starting. Come on back, folks. I'll get you the rest of the way. Lots of stuff to talk about out there. We're going to get into it. And then Sean Payton walking back his attacks on Russell. Come on back, folks. The main event. And we're back here, main event. Dale goes off and does that hit over there at KU PD, and throw it out there. I appreciate everybody that listens to the free podcast. Of course, Spotify, Google, Apple, anywhere you get your free podcast right now. Podbean as well. Appreciate those of you that hear Dale over there at KU PD, and then come and find us over here. Of course, free YouTube page as well for you on demand. And for those of you, we do see some signups happening as well here at Robat TV for the live and the on-demand here as well. So thank you very much for catching us live as well for those of you that do that. But, yeah, appreciate it. We see the numbers actually have gone up here over the last couple months. I know a lot of you from the KUPD circles, sports fans, come over and visit us here as well. So appreciate it very much. Don't forget, you can text us, 623-252-6670. It's just like texting your buddies. We do not text back. We do not send you anything. We respect your phone's privacy at that point. But if you want interaction, hit us up on X at TME Sports Show. And we do respond there. We do talk about that. But even if we don't respond on the text line, we will talk about it here as well for you there. So that's ways you can reach out and participate in the show. And that's okay. You can tell us how dumb we are as well. We're okay with it. We'll correct you and move on as well. So no Lou today. Lou is going to join us tomorrow, traveling back from Las Vegas. Had a work trip there, of course. Lou with Veasan, Gamblu.com. So he's going to join us tomorrow at 9:00 here, remotely from his house, his temporary home, as he's doing a remodel on his regular home. So that'll be tomorrow for Lou. For those of you, good news about that. Well, the Thursday night game tonight will be in the bag, but it'll be after weigh-ins for this weekend's UFC. So he'll have some more definitive thoughts going into the UFC fights this weekend. as well as the NFL talk coming up. So join us with Lou tomorrow. Of course, don't forget, earlier in the week, Bruce Cooper, Tuesday. If you missed that spirited discussion about your Arizona Cardinals, go on demand there at YouTube. So on the YouTube page, you get the full shows, right? The main event, McCollum on Business, the pit stop, the Real Matrix. That new episode hit yesterday at noon as well, episode 5 with the Angry Patriot, or the Angry Patriot. Just his names crack me up. But Dale Hillstray, I think, was in the 5th episode as well. If you like that type of programming, it's there for you on that page. Of course, all this is at Robat TV as well. But then if you go down underneath that, you'll see an interview section. So if you just want to listen to the Bruce Cooper section, the Mike Sheehan section yesterday, the Lou section after tomorrow, it's in those interview sections there. We do parse those out. The same thing with the free podcast systems as well for those of you that just want to listen to that stuff. Not insulted. I get it. You're just missing out on all the other fun when you do that out there. So we were talking a lot of NBA, with Dale there, the gambling arrest this morning and the ruining of careers, on guys, highly paid guys, and the Timberwolves needing a new head coach moving forward and figuring that situation out. Suns won last night, a good comeback win for them, and I just like how this team fought to come back. It did not go well in that first half, as I said. And I was, quite frankly, even in that third quarter when they were making that run, I was like, yeah, they're not going to do it. Kind of disappointing and everything. I actually fell asleep there in the fourth quarter, so I didn't get to see the ending with the comeback. I saw they came back this morning when I got up there, and I had to go back and watch it. I was listening to it, actually, on the way in today. That's the other thing with that Suns Plus package. You can sit down and re-listen to it and re-watch the games as well. So if you do miss some of it, it's easy to catch up on and everything. But, I like the way they played. I think this is going to be a hard-fought team. I think they proved that last night. And like I said, my bigger takeaway, they have a coach that's willing to try new things, willing to move things around, willing to think about it and implement things. They're not all going to work, right? Like I told you, the Williams thing last night, restricted minutes for him. He was not going to play again once he got to 24 minutes. And they structured his playing time, not starting him, bringing him off the bench. I did see afterwards the game where he said, hey, I'm not used to coming off the bench. But it meant I was out there when they needed me out there. And so I'm fine. I'm happy with it, etc. And that's what I liked about the coaching staff last night. We have not seen a coaching staff be able to do this type of a movement around and putting guys into the right spots to be successful in quite a long time here as Phoenix Suns. If you're wondering, Devin Booker last night, fantastic game for him as it went on, and everything. Let's check in with Devin Booker after the game and his thoughts.
Yeah, it brought the arena back to life. It brought our bench back to life, and I think it was super special for us to deal with that in the first game, seeing what you can do and being down 20 points and flipping it and going on a run and doing it together.
I mean, he's thanking the crowd for bringing him back into the game. That crowd, at least from what I could hear, was loud in that stadium. And look, the fan base is behind you right now. You could take advantage of it, or you can squander it, right, moving forward. Robert chimes in at TME Sports Show. Okay, if you haven't caught on yet, I struggle saying the NBA commissioner's name. I always, still go back to, now I can't remember his name. The other commissioner, I struggle with it. Adam, or David, I get the name David wrong. I get Silver wrong. I get, everything wrong with them. I've always done that. And then Robert says, I thought for a minute you were going to call the commissioner David Silver. Is that the kid from 90210? Am I going too far back for that? Wasn't he that kid from 902? Anybody out there? The best part is if Dale was here, he wouldn't even be able to answer that. He'd have no idea what to deal with. Yeah, it is. I just looked it up. Yeah, he's one of the main characters there. Season 1 through 4. Yeah, David Silver. But anyway, I always screw up the commissioner's name. Yeah, all the time. It just, I don't know what it is about him. It's just his name does not stick in my brain. Robert also says, can Dylan Brooks play first base? Asking for a friend? Is that because, one, Diamondbacks need a first baseman, but more importantly, the toughness? Torrey doesn't want a tough guy on that team. That's the difference. Not just Torrey, let me be fair. The executives of the Diamondbacks don't want tough players on their team. So he wouldn't fit in. They would shun him and trade him in 2 seconds. The second he started jawing with somebody or doing what he does out there, the Diamondbacks would trade him on the spot and admonish him and apologize to the other team. That's the problem with Dylan Brooks. Is the Diamondbacks won't put up with that type of shenanigans. We don't play that way. You know what I'm talking about, Robert. I'm talking about the that pitcher. That was John there with the Atlanta Braves. I think it was Acuna there at third base. And Torrey actually apologized to the Braves for that happening. We don't play that way. It's good to see an Arizona team have some toughness. And when they get punched in the face and they respond to being punched in the face. We haven't seen that with the Suns the last couple of years. We certainly aren't seeing that with the Cardinals right now. ASU, I guess, we're seeing it, right? They're getting down early in games and fighting back with a little bit of an edge to it. So we're seeing it from them. But it's just, we're not. Diamondbacks, certainly not. So it's nice. It is nice to see the toughness out there from after one game. I did like. I should have. I cut the audio because it was just funny. He had his white, thing on his head and just a big gauze from the stitches underneath it there. So I told you guys I didn't watch a ton of basketball around the league. Obviously, I caught highlights. The Spurs are going to be a force if they can stay healthy this year, as we've already said. Wemby had 40 points, 15 rebounds last night. Mavericks are going to be okay. They're going to be a playoff team. I just don't know how high they're going to be seated. It's Cooper Flagg's team right now. Obviously, Kyrie Irving's out until January, February, March timeframe. So it is his team. And then Kyrie Irving comes back. How does he integrate in with Cooper Flagg? Cooper Flagg's going to be one of those, I call them rare players. Not too many guys get drafted and are NBA ready. I do believe, and I said it last year when Cooper Flagg was, he's super young, right? Was he 19? Did he turn 20 yet? Is my question. But when he was at Duke last year, I said he's an NBA-ready guy right now when I was watching him play for Duke last year and stuff to that effect. So the Mavericks will be okay in the West there. The Clippers looked absolutely terrible last night. The Jazz looked better than we're all expecting. With the best owner in sports up there in Salt Lake City. Not going to go on that rant. Not going to go on that rant today. Jazz looked better last night than anybody else did from that side, from the West. So, we're one game in, right? Lakers are going to be just the middling Lakers. The old Golden State's going to be what they are. Nothing major. Tonight, though, this is fascinating. Tonight, you do have Nuggets Warriors battling it out tonight. It's the first game for the Nuggets. They, for some reason, got to take a couple extra days off against the Warriors, who are 1-0. They beat the Lakers there on opening night, coming up there. So we got a good game. It's going to be an ESPN game tonight coming up tonight here for Nuggets Warriors. If you're getting into that NBA season, and in case Thursday Night Football gets boring with the Vikings Chargers coming up tonight from that side. So look, we're one game in, nothing to draw conclusions on. But the nice thing about the Suns game last night, they didn't come out. Yes, the first half was atrocious. I saw a lot of you out there on X last night saying, "Oh, this team's terrible. I'm not watching another minute of this trash in the first half." A good friend of mine that's on Twitter said, "I'm not paying attention to the Suns team if they're going to play like this in the first game of the year." No, then they came back. The comeback, the eventually winning of it, just tells you this is how that team's going to be this year. They're going to fight hard. They're gonna fight hard to be in there. But they're going to lose a lot of games. I get it. You're going to have to brace yourself for that coming up, right? Everybody has them at 30. ESPN yesterday came out with their preseason rankings, an updated one. They have the Suns as the second worst team in the West. And something like the fourth or fifth worst team in the whole NBA. More teams bad in the East is what ESPN said. Right? 30 wins is what they're saying for the Suns going into the season. Not a lot of upside on these guys, but they go out there and they play hard like they did last night. They're going to lose games. Now, like I said, they got big tests. The Clippers, the bad thing for them, the Clippers looked absolutely terrible last night. Terrible. Clippers aren't going to look that bad for game 2, are they? They're going to kind of wake up a little bit. Bradley Beal with his 5 points. I was shocked he had 5 points when Dale told me that. I thought he had less than that. So they're going up against a Clippers team that got just absolutely dismantled by the Jazz, looked like absolute trash out there. They're going to have some pride to come in here and fight. So you got kind of that disadvantage going into this game on the road against the Clippers on Friday night. But then you got to go to the Nuggets on Saturday, back-to-back. L.A. to Denver. So then you're going to altitude in game number 2 to start the season. My lungs hurt trying to breathe, thinking about that as well. Then you come back, and on Monday, you got the Jazz in Salt Lake City coming up before you come home for a bunch of games. You got Grizzlies, who are going to be a good team this year. The Jazz again. Jazz are improved. They're not going to be the worst team on the planet like they were the last couple of years. They're going to be a little bit improved, but they're beatable. They're not going to be great. Jazz Suns there coming back. And then you've got, oh my gosh, that's the NBA Cup already? Okay, we're already in the NBA Cup, people. Next Friday there, October 31st, we got the NBA Cup coming our way. Then you got the Spurs coming into town on Sunday, November 2nd. So they have some tough games coming up. We'll have to see how they play. The Nuggets are going to be one of the better teams in the West. How do they stack up against it? Even if you don't win, are you playing hard? Are you staying in the game? Are there adjustments happening in the game? I can't emphasize this enough. My takeaway from last night, team fought through. Last year, that team would have just faltered the whole second half, got through that game and lost it, and then afterwards said, they had a good game plan. They made the adjustments. The coaching staff made the adjustments, and they fought hard. That's the takeaway I got from last night's game. You expect it to continue to happen for the Suns out there as well. So we heard from Book after the game talking about the crowd. Now you go on the road. And I was just looking up here really quick here. I was looking up, obviously the Jazz beat the Clippers, so they're 1-0 on the season last night as well. The teams that are 0-1 here in the West. I just wanted to, it's one game, I get it. But it's the Houston Rockets, Portland Trailblazers, and don't forget, Portland Trailblazers are without a coach now. How does that affect them moving forward with all that surrounding them? Sacramento Kings, obviously 0-1. Now, they were without Sabonis and a couple other guys out there, so that wasn't a Kings team that we're going to see, as the season goes on. Pelicans are 0-1. Lakers, of course, 0-1, losing that night. Clippers, we already told you. Mavericks lost last night to the Spurs. 0-1 for them, and then, of course, the Nuggets haven't played yet, so they're at the bottom of the rankings there. Interesting start to the season. I'm looking forward to it on from that perspective. Now, in the East, the Knicks looked better last night than I thought they would. The Knicks are going to be a playoff team out there. The question is, will they be able to get over that proverbial hump this year? It's kind of the question you got to go. Orlando's young. They beat Miami last night. Orlando's young. Are they going to be able to put it together and compete to go on a deep playoff run this year? You have a lot of questions on, but you got to watch out for them. Sixers are the Sixers. Who knows? Toronto? Oh, they're Toronto. Who knows? Bucks, they're going to be there at the end and talking about that side and everything. Boston, I just don't know. Jason Tatum being gone from that team, is that a big enough difference here to where they're not going to be able to compete? So Boston's one I am watching, although they are 0-1 to start the season from that perspective. So Cleveland Cavaliers are expected to be the best team in the East when it's all said and done. And they start that season 0-1 for them as well. So I don't know. It's just the team I'm going to be watching here is the Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, they have some talent on that team. And if they just continue to disappoint as the season goes on, are you going to see some of that talent get traded? That's the question that I've got for them. And that's going to be a team that you could possibly see that coming up. So the Atlanta Hawks could seriously change the flow of the NBA playoff run here after the trade deadline if they decide to unload a lot of their high-priced guys coming up. So only one game in. I get it. Obviously, we're not gonna get too high on the Suns or any of these teams. I will say this though: watch out for the Spurs this year. I felt that going into this season, and then watching them last night, I was like, oh, they stay healthy, and Wemby stays healthy, they're going to be a force this year. I'm not saying they're winning a championship, but they're going to be one of those teams that goes from the bottom towards the top here this year. And I also told you, watch out for Houston. I expect Houston to be worse than everybody thinks they're going to be in the season. They're still going to make the playoffs. They're going to make a run, possibly, unless they go up against a super young team out there. But watch for Houston. They're going to be on the downside. They're not going to be – I don't think Houston's going to be a top 4 seed this year. It might be just underneath it, 5, 6 seed maybe. Going into it, they are going to be disappointing on Houston. San Antonio is going to be higher than you think from that perspective. And I do think the Suns are going to be – they're going to have more wins than you anticipate them do. Everybody's saying Suns will be low 30s, etc. That's probably accurate. But the Suns are going to play hard all year. And they're going to go up against teams that are going to say, hey, we'll be able to take a rest against the Suns. And they will go win those games. Suns could be pushing 40, possibly a 500 record as they vie for that 8th, 9th, well, not the 8th, but the 9th, 10th seed in the playoffs this year with this team. And that's just from playing hard night in, night out. So pay attention to that as well. And Clippers, you could say, are going to be disappointing this year, but they're always disappointing. So there's no talking and no talking that in terms of paying attention to that. So we got a lot of college football stuff coming up. If you missed the news earlier, Uncle Lou, we announced it last week, going to join us tomorrow on Friday to talk that UFC and NFL stuff on Friday at 9:00. So join us tomorrow for Uncle Lou. In the next hour or so, we got college football talk. Kenny Dillingham, Marcus Arroyo, offensive coordinator, talking about Jordan Tyson being out of the game this weekend. You're going to need Hamilton to step up. You're going to need some of these other receivers to step up this weekend against Houston coming into town. We'll talk about that. We'll show you the first injury report coming up. Mike Norvell finally speaks there in Florida State. His job is hanging by a thread down there. I'm interested in seeing what he says because they beat Alabama this year and then lost to Stanford and a couple other bad teams. I'm always interested in what coaches have to say. We saw Dabo there at Clemson kind of just go into the I'm a winner mode instead of talking about his team. And then NFL stuff tonight as well. Sean Payton update. Tua said something yesterday in his press conference that you Kyler Murray fans or Kyler Murray non-fans are going to kind of relate to and enjoy. So I'll play that for you as well, folks. Come on back. It's the main event. And we're back here. Main event Thursdays. Second hour normally means Uncle Lou joins us. He'll be joining us tomorrow on Friday. We announced that last week. He's traveling back to the Valley here from Las Vegas here today. So he's going to join us tomorrow remotely from his temporary home out there in the West Valley. So Uncle Lou tomorrow. But for this hour, of course, Dale Hellestrae goes off and does his KUPD hit. He's got to be there between 9 and 9:15. He's on there for the 45 minutes or so to wrap up their show. And appreciate, like I said earlier, I appreciate everybody that's come over and found us here after from hearing him over there. And sometimes they talk sports over there, which is his point of being there. But whatever, it's how it goes, right? So Uncle Lou tomorrow, but I'll get you through the rest of this show. Don't forget, text me, 623-252-6670. Hit us up on X as well, at TME Sports Show. If you just tag us there, we see it, we talk about it and everything. Again, text line, we don't respond to you. We respect the privacy of your phone, but we will talk about what you have to text in. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page for us, if you will, as well. All of our programming, all the programming that our company does here, we produce it out here at Robat TV. We use them to move forward and produce it out there. But we produce a lot of other stuff around as well that we put up there on the YouTube page. So check that out for us. Free on demand there of all of the shows that we do. New Pit Stop, the Look Ahead show this weekend, Martinsville. It's going to be recorded today and up on Robat TV on demand, at the YouTube on demand, and then their free podcast as well. Just search the Pit Stop Talk there, and it'll come right up for you for that podcasting. We're down to Martinsville. Last race of this elimination race for the playoffs. We'll have our championship 4 in all 3 NASCAR series after this weekend's racing, which means Phoenix Championship race is just a week away. Next weekend, you'll have the ARCA Championship, the Truck Championships there on Friday, Saturday Xfinity Championship, and then, of course, Cup Series champion will be crowned on Sunday over here at Phoenix Raceway. Last year of the championship race here in Phoenix. Next year it moves to Homestead, Miami. And we just turned into our normal 2 races, one in the playoffs, one in March as well, with IndyCar, by the way, in March, coming up with that perspective. So check out the Pit Stop later on today as well. It'll be up for you coming up. So, we just got done talking NBA, 1 game into the season for everybody, except for the Nuggets. For some reason, they haven't played yet. They played tonight against the Warriors. But look, I think the NBA can be a fun start of the season. And, years past, I know the Suns started fast last year. But at the beginning of the NBA season, they just don't play until Christmas. This Suns team, though, is something to pay attention to. 1, new players, new coaching staff. I'm going to use the term there's a lot of unknowns about this Suns team, but also some excitement a little bit for the Suns team and seeing what they're going to be. It's just these last several years have been dull and boring. Even with their hot start last year, you thought they were good, and then you just watched it go sideways. It's just like, okay, let's see what these guys can do. Let's see what the rotations can do. Is Jordan on a good head coach? After 1 game, I was impressed with him. So there's some optimism from that side. We came into the NFL season with a lot of optimism around the Cardinals that they were going to win this division and keep moving forward from their last years of growth, the last couple years of growth. Well, that's been a disappointment, right? ASU came into this season with a lot of positivity, a lot of thoughts that they were going to make another big run to the playoffs, possibly go even farther in the playoffs as well. They're right there. Yes, they have, the 2 losses, Utah and Mississippi State, both on the road, and 2 losses there. But they're still in the hunt. They're still moving forward. There's nothing to be upset about other than what you're seeing on the field, right? Red zone offense, the coaching staff issues, the red zone offensive issues and stuff to that effect. But they're still winning, right? So there's some disappointment around the Sun Devils, but they're still winning. Other than the Utah game and the first half of the Mississippi State game, games have been fun, exciting. They've been able to pull them out. Big game against Houston. I don't think Houston's as good as their record says it is. That being said, Houston will beat you if you don't show up and play. Then you lose your best receiver. And folks, Jordan Tyson catches more balls. Jordan Tyson does more for this offense than any other receiver on this team combined. You're losing the equivalent of Cam Scatterboo for this game this weekend as Jordan Tyson is out this weekend. You don't believe me? Well, let's go in. Let's look at Kenny Dillingham here. KD talks to us about Tyson being out this weekend.
Yeah, Jordan's going to be out for the game. You have, Miles and Boogie are, probably going to be questionable. Haven't gotten many reps in practice. Crook is going to be questionable. Uh, you know, so we'll have the full injury report out today, but we're banged up. Like I told the guys, nobody cares. Nobody cares. We got to get guys healthy. We got to work to get healthy, and we got to go out there and fight and compete. Yeah, he had a good week. I think a bunch of people have to step up. I think it can't just be him. You can't just replace Jordan Tyson with one person, right? So you've got to have a group and a team effort to replace, 10, 15 yards at a time. I'm not ready to comment on that right now. This is something I'm, trying to protect him from himself. I mean, that dude's a competitor out there, playing the end of the last game, making plays. So this is something that, we're making a decision to kind of protect him from him a little bit because he is such a competitor.
And we got to give our props there. Sun Devil Source, obviously have reporters out there for practices. And that same thing with, Devil's Digest. We do a lot of the audio from those guys. They do a fantastic job covering. We've got to make sure that we plug them out there. We got that one from Sun Devil Source. So he announced Jordan Tyson's out. If you've been watching this program and kind of other sources out there, went out there. The question is, how many games is Jordan Tyson going to be out? We played that clip yesterday where Coach said, he had that cramp and a tear. A cramp or whatever happened to him. How bad is that hamstring going into this weekend? Will it heal quickly? That could linger a little bit. So how many games is he going to miss is kind of the question that I do have to wonder and worry about here going into this weekend. But we know for sure he's out this weekend coming up here. Well, Marcus Arroyo, right, the offensive coordinator, you heard Kenny talk about other guys having to step up and how he has faith in them, et cetera. We'll talk about the other two injury guys he talked about here in just a minute, bud. Marcus Arroyo there, the offensive coordinator. Well, who needs to step up here? Let's hear it.
Yeah, to have your lead guy go out, I think everyone understands kind of the reality of this sport. We've had this happen at multiple positions over the course of the time I've been here, and it's something we preach a lot. The next guy's got to step up, and we've got to be able to create a little more value at each position because it's hard to replace one guy that valuable with one spot. Everyone's got to pick up a little bit of here and there, and got to get creative in ways you do that. And obviously a tough loss for us, but our guys have done a good job responding and coming out to work. I think their attitude's been fantastic in regards to how we've gone about the week and re-engaged.
Think of Moneyball. If you've seen the movie Moneyball or the story of Moneyball, right? They were trying to replace, everybody tries to replace a good player with somebody that can recreate those stats. And famously in Moneyball, he says, well, we're not trying to recreate the one. We need people to get on base. We need to recreate this stuff. 3 players can recreate the one. You're not going to get anybody on this team to step up and have Jordan Tyson numbers this weekend here at ASU against this game. You're just not. So, but can you get 2 guys to step up and get better numbers? Well, you're getting closer to matching Jordan Tyson's side of things. So that's kind of the attitude. I kind of like what he's saying there, because anytime you lose, if Jordan Tyson's not the best receiver in the nation, he's definitely in the top 2 or 3 of them. That's what you're losing in your receiver core. He catches a lot of footballs. He does a lot of damage on the offensive side of things. Here, I did see a tweet with his stats there and how much he does, talk and stuff like that. And I can't locate it here. I saw it as a blip earlier today. I was like, I don't need that. And of course, now I'm kind of wondering what that stat was. I saw it. Now it doesn't come up like I was thinking. But how much he catches the ball, how much he's targeted out there was kind of the gist of that tweet out there. So. One guy's not going to replace it. If you're expecting Hamilton to go out there and have Jordan Tyson numbers and domination, I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying it's unlikely that he will. So you need one. Hamilton needs to step up. You need a couple other guys to step up as well. Maybe the tight ends get a little bit more involved and stuff from that perspective. Also is what you're looking at from there. So, even without Jordan Tyson, I think Houston's beatable. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm minimizing Houston. They have a good record this year. Were they 6-1? They will beat you if you come in here and don't play your ball game. But ASU without Tyson should beat Houston this weekend at 5 p.m. over there at I still call it Sun Devil Stadium. Mountain America doesn't pay me. And I don't like the name. Funny enough, is I'm looking for a new bank for a lot of my business stuff now. And somebody was like, go to Mountain America. And I was like, no. I'm holding it against them that they stole Sun Devil Stadium from us. I'm obviously kidding around and having a little bit of fun with them from there. So you just heard Kenny talking about the injury report coming out later in the day. This was yesterday. It did come out later in the day. Let's look at that ASU Houston injury report. And again, I just want to point out here, as Kobe brings that up for us here, every week, ASU column is completely full when they do the injury report. Completely full. The other team, halfway full. Yeah, the other team, apparently, everybody we play this year, everybody Arizona State plays this year, only has a handful of dinged-up guys and injured guys. And ASU's just like listing everybody. So I want to point that out again. It drives me nuts. Got to be some standards to this, right? So out. Jordan Tyson, obviously, we talked about that. We know Kyson Brown's going to be out for a while. They announced that a couple weeks ago. Xavier Alford, we know, is going to be a multiple week out. They announced that a couple weeks ago as well from there, right, going into this game. So we have some big guys that are out here this weekend against that. Doubtful, which means, to me, doubtful, he's out. They're not ruling him out, but if you're doubtful on a Wednesday, now we'll see when it comes out again today, but are you going to get that healthy? Prince Dorba is going to be a big loss on that defensive line this weekend for Arizona State. If he's doubtful, that tells me most likely he's going to be out. Prince Dorba, that's going to be a big loss, folks. I didn't even see when he got hurt in that game last week, Texas Tech. After the game, people were like, prayers up to Prince. And I was like, what happened to him? I don't know where I missed the injury. I don't know what happened to him. I don't remember him being on the field down. So I don't know if I was just having fun, not paying attention or what. So I missed that one. But he's doubtful going into that. That's going to be a big loss as well. Questionable usually means you're playing out there. And, all on the defensive side here. Miles Rouser, somebody, you probably will need this weekend against Houston with him out there. Kind of a deal. Now, probable is that big list, right? Sam Levitt, we know, is still dealing with that lower body injury. That's an ankle injury. So watching him run last week looked off last week with that injury that he has there as well for him. Now, the other, then just your standard list of guys here that you got. CJ Fife, still, he was probable last week and still probable this week is coming into this game. Now, in that clip I just played you, Kenny Dillingham, let me pull it up here again. I apologize here. Give me 1 second. But Kenny Dillingham was talking about, Jordan Tyson being out. That's the big loss. But there's some other guys here that are injured that you do have to worry about. Rouser's one of them. Adrian Wilson, which is Boogie, by the way, number 6. There were drives last week against Texas Tech where I don't know how it looked on television, but there were drives in that game where Boogie Wilson was everywhere. He was making tackles. He was putting pressure on the quarterback. He stood out on several of those drives last week. Him and Rouser being out or possibly being questionable. Questionable, they're playing. Just how effective are they going to be going into it? You need those guys out there. You need Jordan Crook, number 8. Those are Wilson and Crook specifically are 2 guys that you notice on that football field. I don't know how they look on television last week. I'm just telling you, in the stadium, you saw 6 and 8's number all over the field. And it was noticeable they were out there. They were making the plays. They were hitting guys hard. A couple of those injuries were because they hit them for Texas Tech receivers. Questionable guys. Just tells me they're playing, and thank goodness, because you need that coming up against Houston. I'm just telling you guys, as defensive guys, because I love defense. I love defense way more than I love offense. Boogie Wilson, Jordan Crook are 2 guys that if you don't see them playing on defense, you're not paying attention, and you need to. They are fantastic players out there. So watch for that coming up this weekend. It just, like I said, it just cracks me up, though. ASU's got a whole page full. Like they need like a second page with their injury listings. Every team they play is just like, we got these 4 guys that are hurt. I don't get it. I don't get why we're doing it, right? Of course, over the weekend and on Monday, we've talked a lot about the special teams, specifically punt unit, kickoff unit.
Yeah, I think
here
our
this
special
week.
teams periods have been.
And, well, thanks, Kenny. He's the coach. He can interrupt whenever he wants, right? I don't know if you guys, if that went out over the air, if that was just in my ear, but Kenny Dillingham said he's going to get involved in special teams. He made the whole team watch the special teams plays, watch the film this week. Everybody had to sit down and watch it as well. Well, Kenny Dillingham yesterday was asked about the special teams and the punting unit. Here's what he had to say on how their practices have gone this week.
Yeah, I think our special teams periods have been juiced. They've been amped. You wish that you could just flip a switch and be good at something. So does that mean hard work does not translate to success? Hard work gives you the best opportunity to be successful. So I think this week, the way that we worked on special teams is going to give us the best opportunity to be successful. Is these 2 days enough to be successful? I don't know, right? But I know that we couldn't have worked harder. We couldn't have done more. So from that perspective, I'm excited to see that unit play.
Kenny Dillingham says things that I often say on here. When things are bad, lots of penalties, how do you fix that during a season? I don't believe you can. Because it's technique and stuff like that you should be working on in the offseason. How do you fix a bad unit? I don't know if you can. Kenny Dillingham just basically said what I've said. I don't know. But we're changing things up, and we're doing it this way, and we're going to see. Is it enough? I don't know. We'll see on Saturday. But we're working hard to try to fix it. You don't hear coaches talk like this, folks. He's flat out telling you, we're working hard. I like the way they're operating this week. I like what we're doing in practice. They're juiced. They're willing to learn. They're exciting to watch and practice here. They're working hard at it to fix it. They want to fix it as players. And he says, I don't know if it's enough. I love that talk because that's the reality of the situation. Coaches don't talk like this. And it's refreshing to see it. We've talked about it a lot. It's refreshing. It's it's a reflection. Yeah, working hard doesn't mean you're going to be good at something. It just doesn't. But working hard, it's like when you're in school, right? If you study hard and you do it, does that guarantee you an A in the test? No. Does it guarantee you a better grade than you'd get if you didn't work at it? Absolutely. So even if the punt team, for instance, we'll just pick out the punt coverage team, because that was atrocious. Even if, let's just say with this practice this week, with the way they're practicing, let's say they're just 25% better than they were last week. Just 25%. That means you're not going to get a 30-yard return back to the 12-yard line. They might return it to the 40, the 35-yard line. That's huge in football circles. Is it going to go from as bad as it was last week to really good this week? I doubt it. And you just heard Kenny say that. Probably not. But just if you get a 25% improvement, 15% improvement, and it's just on that one drive where they don't return a big punt and get in good position to go down and score late in the game, like happened the other day. That's what you're hoping for. And Kenny Dillingham's doing it. I'm just so impressed with Kenny Dillingham and this coaching staff and the way they're addressing the obvious problems on this team. Like I said, we can compare it and contrast it all the time to Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals, where Jonathan Gannon just goes, we're going to go back to what we know. We're going to keep going at what we know. It's refreshing here to see them doing it. And we'll see. He's right. We'll see on Saturday. Is the punt team improved at all going into this weekend's games? I personally don't think you can solve that stuff in the middle of the season. Can you improve it? Yes. And sometimes an improvement just means you don't get a 40-yard run back on you. You only get a 25-yard run back on you. It's going to look bad that you get a 25-yard back on you. But you know what? It didn't turn into a 40, 50-yard run back. Those baby steps can be done. It's just you're not going to go from now this week, no punts are going to be returned and stuff to that effect. So I like the way Kenny's handling it and the way he's looking at it on that side. So, of course, that was there. Cardinal stock, they're off. They get the weekend off here. And so they're going to be basically quiet coming up until Monday when they all come back from the bye week here and everything. And then the last thing on the college side of things, I said earlier in the week. Well, let me check the text line here and everything first. Robert says at TME Sports Show on X, if there had a college caliber punter, the special teams would have not been an issue. Okay, I get that sentiment, but you also got to keep in mind he's hurt. Which brings me to my next point. Arizona State's punter's been hurt. Which brings me to my next point. If he's that hurt, you don't have any other options for a punter? You just keep running him out there kind of a deal? It's kind of what I'm worried about, right? It's kind of what you look at when you look at that stuff. Well, I mean, you got to remember too. He had a couple of punts blocked. That goes on the blocking team in front of him. Letting a guy get back there. It's just the kickoff to the punter. It's all a mess in terms of the coverage side of things, folks. It is. It's all a mess. And I mentioned this the other day. Last year, they had field goal kicker issues. This year, punt team issues. It's becoming very, very clear with all the right that Kenny Dillingham's doing and his coaching staff is doing. They're doing a lot right. They are not paying attention to the smaller details of special teams. I'm a big proponent of special teams. They're mundane. Nobody wants to do them. That everybody wants to focus on offense and defense winning games. Special teams will win you or lose you a game faster than your offense or your defense will. I'm a big proponent of that. And I think it's become clear. Now, they're fixing it right now. But again, last year they had it with the thing, and they fixed the field goal unit after the season. But those guys last year just didn't all of a sudden start struggling kicking once the season started. Right? This punt coverage team has been bad all year. It didn't just start when the season started. Where's the focus on the special teams in the offseason and leading into it? It's 2 years in a row now you've had a special team serious issues here. Almost cost you games. I don't know the structure of it and stuff. Obviously, I'm not in that coaching staff, but you need to focus on all three phases of the game. Pay attention to those minute details on the special team side to avoid this stuff happening coming up there. And I think it's become obvious special teams is not a focus, at least from the head coach's position, until it becomes a problem. Then he starts focusing in on it. I'd like to see him focus on it a little bit sooner. Maybe I'm being a little harsh there, but I'd like to see it happen a little bit sooner, to be honest with you, and what we are dealing with as well. So then, Florida State. This is an interesting deal. I told you guys coming into the week, I'm not going to lie to you. It is Thursday. It is 9:23 a.m. Uncle Lou's joining us tomorrow on Friday, not today. And I am 100% floored that Florida State still has their head football coach, Mike Norvell, on their roster, still coaching that team going into this game this week. I am floored by this. I thought for sure they had to make a move, especially with other big-time schools making the moves as well. And they haven't. They just haven't pulled the trigger. Whatever reason. Maybe the buyout's too much. Maybe they still have faith that Mike Norvell is going to be able to go out there and win. It's an up and down thing with him, man. I like Mike Norvell as a coach. I really do. How many guys have struggled? Jimbo Fisher struggled at Florida State. There's something with Florida State and coaches not being able to put together solid seasons. Now, if, his first year there was his first year, second year, quarterback got hurt. Nothing you could do about that. But after that, it's been a mess. They hitched their wagon to DJU last year. That was a disaster. Everybody knows DJ DJ couldn't throw the ball forward. I love me some DJU, man. I love getting behind him and rallying on him. But everybody knew he wasn't the quarterback there for Florida State, and they hitched their wagon to him to move forward as well. So I want to tell you this before we get to Mike Norvell. He spoke yesterday for the first time, since they lost last week. Florida State, earlier this year, August 30th, Florida State beat Alabama, who was ranked fourth at the time, fourth in the country, 31-17. They went in there and they beat, as an ACC school, they went in there and beat a fourth-ranked Alabama team. Now, Alabama, to me, is not a top 5 team, but they're better than they were last year. And they're probably, you have the upper tier of the SEC. They're probably the next tier down Alabama is, in my opinion. Are they winning a championship? No. Can they win a couple games in the playoffs? Probably. Or they could flounder out. And Florida State went and beat them 31-17 on August 30th. Then they played East Texas A&M and beat them 77-3. No shocker there. They did what they're supposed to do. They played Kent State. I don't know why I just got the hiccups. They played Kent State. 66-10 victors over Kent State. 2 easy patsy teams, right? Then they got Virginia, who was ranked 16th at the time. And they lose to Virginia, 46-38. That game was in overtime at the end of September. 16th ranked Virginia, look, they're a good team. Florida State, there's no shame in losing to 16th ranked Virginia in overtime, 46-38. You could argue they should have won that game, but that's beside the point. Then they lost to Miami, 28-22. 9th ranked Miami at the time. 9th ranked Miami beat Florida State. No shame in losing to Miami overall. Now, if you're Florida State, they don't like losing to Miami. But 2 losses there, right? Then they go and now they lose to Pittsburgh. 34-31, they lost to Pittsburgh. There is shame losing to Pittsburgh if you're Florida State. Then they play that ACC all-time juggernaut, Stanford, last weekend. And they lose to Stanford, 20-13, interim head coach. Nobody there bringing kids into that school right now that can play competitive football. 20-13 lost to Stanford as well. So you've got 2 losses against ranked teams that you want to beat, but you didn't do it. Okay, you can kind of look that aside. Losing to Pitt, losing to Stanford of all teams. At school like Florida State, by not firing Mike Norvell, put that on top of last year's performance, is shocking to me. Teams and organizations do not put up with this level of stuff if you're Florida State. I'm shocked he's still there, folks. Well, Mike Norvell, I digress here. I'm really hyping up that Mike Norvell should be fired by Florida State, even though he's got a huge buyout. You can afford to pay it out. And it's your fault for putting yourself in that situation with that contract. Mike Norvell spoke for the first time since that Stanford loss over the weekend. And quite frankly, he was specifically asked, about the losses and, about, hey, you beat Alabama. You lost to Stanford. How does that happen? Well, here's Mike Norvell's answer yesterday.
I knew, I'm telling you, that game, it kills me with the fact that we went and lost the game. I knew it was going to be challenging. I knew all the dynamics around it. I knew it was going to be a challenging, some challenging dynamics with it. And, but to be honest with you, Alabama's a really good football team. Right, so how do you lose? How do you beat Alabama and lose to anybody else? Because nobody else is really losing, or they're not losing anybody else. Right? But it's you go through it, and it's college football. I mean, there's great parity. There's great, every team. If you give opportunities, I mean, they're all capable, and you can sit there and right now you go stack up some talents or thoughts or expectations, and you know what? You still got to show up and go do it. And it is it's a weekly focus that is your best going to show up. And if that does not occur, if you're not able to execute to your best, if you're not able to respond to be the best. If you have a bad play or a bad moment, if that doesn't show up, I mean, anybody, right, can give you challenges. And I believe in this team. I do believe in the talent that we have. I believe in the young men, the coaches. The way that we will finish. But it's I know what we're capable of, and I also know that we're capable of giving others opportunities if we're not our best. And we've got to go out there and play complimentary Florida State football, being the best we can be. We're still going to see some close games, some ups and downs are going to show up, but I'll stay true to that. Right? I'm very, very confident in what the final result will be as we continue to move forward.
Let me ask you this. He finished that statement here, and he said, I'm very, very confident in how we're going to finish up. He's pretty confident they're going to finish probably over in the ACC the way they're playing. Does that just look like a guy that has no answers? Did that not look like a guy that's just trying to say how good Stanford is this year? How good Virginia is this year? Does that not look like a guy that has zero answers to the way his team's playing? That's what it looked like to me. I have no idea, other than his buyout is too big and Florida State doesn't want to eat it. This isn't like this is the first year. They're 0-4 in their conference this year. University of North Carolina. Is anybody following what's happening with that school this year with Bill Belichick? Garbage trash team. They're ahead of Florida State in the rankings. The only school behind them is Boston College. Boston College is also 0-4. Now, to be fair, North Carolina's only played 2 ACC games, so they're 0-2 in the conference so far. Syracuse, Virginia Tech are bad teams. They're ahead of. They have 1 win in the conference. Florida State has talent. Florida State has a lot of talent, and they're underperforming. Yes, he is 100% correct. You let another team stay in a game with your mistakes, they will beat you. Anybody will beat you. No matter how bad they are, you will lose to a team that you let stay in the game and you give them opportunities to beat you. You have a chance of losing those games. But when you're Florida State, you should not lose to those guys, even if you make mistakes. NC State has 1 win in the conference. Wake Forest is 1-2 in the conference. Anybody watching Clemson this year? Who knows how long their quarterback's out? He didn't play last week. They lost to SMU last weekend. Clemson did. They're 2-3 in the conference. Florida State's 0-4. I don't know why I'm so passionate on why Mike Norvell has a job. I don't get it. I thought Florida State had higher standards than they have now. Robert says, I agree on Mike Norvell. Never thought he'd outlast his brother. See, last year when they disappointed, you came off, they had a really good season, quarterback got hurt, flamed out after that. I get it. Last year, though, disappointing season. This year, another disappointing season. Now, his buyout's outrageous. Same reason why Florida hang on to Billy Napier for a long time, a couple of years longer than they should have. They didn't want to do the payout. You got to make changes if you want to win at Florida State. Did that right there give you any confidence that Mike Norvell knows what he's doing there? To me, that looked like a guy that just has no answers, has no clue what to do moving forward. Hey, sometimes it's just not a fit at a university. I think Jay Norvell's a good head coach too. I don't necessarily like his attitude sometimes, as a coach. I think he's a good coach. I think he can have success somewhere. Just not at Colorado State. Nobody has success at Colorado State. It's just, to me, this is an amazing thing that's happening at Florida State. Because when I was growing up, Florida State was the school everybody wanted to be. One of them, right? Same thing with Florida, for instance. And when you have multiple coaches coming through Florida State and they can't win. When you had a coach that decided, I'm going to go to A&M and get out of Florida State, that tells you something's going on at that school where coaches don't want to be there. Jimbo Fisher's what I was talking about. Just, it is an amazing thing to watch around Florida State. And, we talk a lot here about how we can't get a coach to sustain success here and things to that effect. Those guys had it for a long time. Now they can't even get it back. It's Florida State. That's how hard sustained success becomes in the league, and very few achieve it. Dabo's struggling with it at Clemson. He had sustained success for a few years. He's struggling with it as it goes on. It's a very difficult thing to do. Now, did you hear him, a la Kenny? I watched the whole press conference. We just pulled that little bit out. Did you hear him do what Kenny's doing? Hey, I called some people to figure out how to get out of this, etc. Doesn't mean he's not doing it, but it's amazing the difference, and we're very, very lucky here, regardless of how the season ends up for Arizona State. Regardless of that, it's fantastic what we have here. And we'll look around college atmosphere, and it just kind of shocks me what we are dealing with in terms of coaches and the way college games are changing as well. So when we come back here, let's get into the NFL talk. Of course, the Vikings-Chargers tonight. Dale picked the Chargers tonight. I agree with him, by the way. We're both going Chargers here for tonight's game. It's going to be one of our games we picked this week. Uncle Lou, if you didn't know earlier, joining us tomorrow as well. So Uncle Lou tomorrow at the 9 o'clock hour. So we'll get all of our picks in and talk about it. Of course, Cardinals on a bye this week. When we come back, let's talk a little Sean Payton. Do we believe Sean Payton with his response yesterday to Russell Wilson stock? Hey, there's 52 players left available to be voted into the Hall of Fame. They're narrowing it down. We'll tell you at least one local legend if he is on that 52. And then Tua said something yesterday in his press conference. As soon as I heard it, I went and pulled the clip. You Kyler Murray people that talk about how short he is, it might hit you a little bit like the way it hit me yesterday. Come on back. Let's talk about it. The main event. And we're back here. Main events. Man, I'm just fired up today with a lot of stuff out there. Missing Lou today. He'll be here tomorrow with us, though. And the nice thing is, after the weigh-ins of the UFC is when we will get him out there. And let me look up here real quick. I should probably have this set up, to be honest with you. I'm just a bad host here today. Right now, but I believe they're in Abu Dhabi this weekend. Yep, they are. Abu Dhabi, 11 a.m., UFC 321 coming up from Abu Dhabi here this weekend on the UFC side. So it'll be after the weigh-ins. Weigh-ins will be tonight, probably, if it's in Abu Dhabi. So obviously he'll have that. He'll have his Bout Business podcast out for those of you that invest with him. So we'll talk to him after that and get his updates, what he's thinking this weekend. Of course, a lot of NFL talk coming your way as well. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock this week. And then just put it in your programming notes as well. I'll just tell you right now, next Thursday, when Dale goes over and does the KUPD hit, I have a personal thing as of now I have to take care of unless anything changes. I've already talked to Lou about it. We're probably going to have Lou next Friday as well because on Thursday, well, this show might have to go dark coming up here. Something I can't get out of and everything. And unless I'm in jail. Let's be honest, it's a court thing. unless I'm in jail. We'll be here for Friday as well. So, and I'll say it's fine, folks. It's a civil matter with rental property stuff and everything. So unless I feel like I have to justify it to you now that I said that, because I don't want people going like, oh my God, Steve's in trouble. It's a civil matter over a renter issue, and because I'm the owner of the property, I get to deal with it, unfortunately, from that side. But so next Thursday, Lou will probably be missing as well, and we'll have him on Friday. So mark your calendars. Pay attention to us here at TME Sports Show. We'll of course post if anything changes at this time as well. But as of now, that's the plan going forward to next week as well with Uncle Lou out there. So this tonight, you got Vikings at Chargers on the menu. You know, I asked Dale before he left. He said he's going with the Chargers there in L.A. this weekend. I agree with him. I don't think Carson Wentz is good. I just don't. I've never. He's an NFL quarterback. He's a starting NFL quarterback. But he's an under the 50% one. Always has been in my eyes from that side. Probably mid-level, is where he's probably at in my eyes. Now that he's older, I think he's even lesser from that point. But he's a quarterback that should be able to come in and get you some wins while you're waiting for your regular quarterback to come back, J.J. McCarthy. I'm also not a J.J. McCarthy fan yet. He's a rookie, right? It's his second year technically, but he's a rookie and playing. A Thursday night game, they're doing the right thing, starting Carson Wentz, and I think that the Vikings are in trouble tonight in L.A. One, I think that the Chargers, a little bit of a spat lately, and I think the Chargers need this win pretty bad. Vikings 3-3 on the season, Chargers 4-3 on the season for them. It's at home in L.A., and visiting teams, I'm going to pull up the odds right now as well. Visiting teams are at a disadvantage, especially when you have to travel across the country as well. Vikings Chargers tonight. This is unfair for the Vikings, right? To get to L.A. As well from where that. Even if they stayed out in that area, a week away, disadvantage from that side after playing last weekend. Or they had a bye last week, whatever it was. It's a disadvantage for the Vikings going into this game just being Thursday night on top of, where they're playing at and where they are and et cetera. Who the Vikings have last week? I'm drawing a complete blank. I had it written down and I can't find it here in my notes. I believe they had the Eagles, didn't they, last week? They did. They had the Eagles last week at home. So they had to play a tough game against the Eagles, travel across the country for a Thursday night game in L.A. To me, it favors the Chargers big time tonight as well in this game. Carson Wentz starting again. Everybody's waiting for J.J. McCarthy to come back. I know early in the week, a lot of talk was, is this J.J. going to come back on Thursday, et cetera. Right now, the Chargers are 3-point favorites. It's minus 120, by the way, so we might get a 3.5er coming up there as well going to this game. Over-under, like most Thursday games. I haven't seen a Thursday game yet. Over-under 44.5 for this weekend, for this game tonight. So I like the Chargers. Dale likes the Chargers for tonight's game as well. I don't. That's where we're at least looking at as we go into tonight's Thursday night football game. A lot of things against the Vikings tonight, and that's one of them. Now, Chargers don't score a lot of points. They want to win a game 9-0, 9-3, whatever, right, going into it. Vikings can score a lot of points, just will they? I also like that under 44.5. Now, to be fair, I'm 2-2 on over-unders on Thursday Night Football here in the last month. So take what you want on that. When the Cardinals won, 44.5 against the Seahawks. I won the next week one, and then I've lost 2 in a row. So take it as you will. just for full things there. Hey, we talked all week also about Sean Payton. Sean Payton, of course, just played the Giants. Broncos came back and beat them. Russell Wilson doesn't even play for the Giants anymore, right? He's backup quarterback. Jackson Dart's getting the start and has been for a while. If you missed this story, we kind of talked about it yesterday. Sean Payton, basically came out in his press conference and he said he told Brian Dable, hey, I wish you would have not switched quarterbacks until after we played you. Basically insinuating they'd rather play Russell Wilson because he's trash. That's what you're insinuating when you say that. Russell Wilson, first of all, Russell Wilson, where has this been your whole career? Russell Wilson always takes the high road. Good for him. I wouldn't always do it, but good for him that he does. He came out and he tweeted back, and it said something about the headhunter stuff that Sean Payton went through in New Orleans, where he was suspended for a year for the headhunting side of things, right? He shot it back on that on Twitter. Well, Sean Payton went to the media yesterday, was asked about this situation, and Sean Payton lies to everybody's face when he talks. Well, I think he lied. What do you guys think? Here's Sean Payton yesterday talking about his comments that he says weren't about Russell Wilson. Here's what he says.
I did. Look, and the euphoria, the way that game unfolded, that was strictly about Dart. I mean, and I that was in no way, shape, or form anything that was directed at Russ. So, and I might be able to see how he might perceive that, but coming off that win and watching how he played, that wasn't any intention at all.
Sean Payton's a terrible liar. Terrible, terrible liar. But he did recognize it's not a good look of him going after his ex-quarterback. Not a good look. Not a good look at all. And, but man, are you full of crap right there? How does it make any sense? Oh, no, we just didn't want to play Dart because look how well he played. You're still knocking Russell Wilson. And again, I looked up the tweet there, or we're listening to that. Russell Wilson said, classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media. And like I said, I agree with Pat McAfee. I don't watch his show all the time. I watch clips of it. But him saying that he's just impressed with Russell Wilson clapping back, and I agree with him. Russell Wilson, where's this been your whole career when people have disrespect you? You've kind of just always taken it and taken the high road. Yeah, clap back, man. It's fantastic. And you did it. You clapped back in a way that made me respect you a little bit more as well, right? But Sean Payton, for the love of God, you're a terrible liar, man. Work on your lying skills. They're awful. They're terrible. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Sean Payton lying there? That's my big question. Hit us up on the text line, 623-252-6670. Of course, at TME Sports Show as well. Sean Payton, terrible liar, or do you believe him? He's a terrible liar. Hey, NFL, other news. The Pro Football Hall of Fame Modern Era Player candidates for the class of 2026, well, they've narrowed it down here in that aspect. So if you don't know how this works, I think this is a ridiculous way to do it, but it's what they do. They basically list everybody eligible. And then you do multiple voting rounds to dwindle it down to the final group of guys. You have some big-name guys that are eligible for the first time. You had Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees available for the first time. Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, first time eligible as well. Then you got Larry Fitzgerald as a first-timer here. Of course, Cardinals fame. Number 11 there. Tight ends, you got Greg Olsen and Jason Witten, first-timers available on the ballot this year. So they're eligible for the first time. Then the other first-timer that made the list of 52 here, Maurice Pouncey as well, offensive lineman, made the list, made it to the group of 52. He's first-time eligible out there as well. So Larry Fitzgerald, 52, made the 52 list. Now they're going to dwindle it down. In terms of wide receivers, who Larry Fitzgerald, because people do say, well, I'm not going to put this guy in until this guy gets in. They do play those games. Here are the other wide receivers that are made the 52 list here for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This will get dwindled down again. I think doesn't it get down to like 10 or something, 12? But Anquan Bolden moved on in this group of 52. Of course, Larry Fitzgerald. Terry Holt, Jimmy Smith, Steve Smith Sr., Heinz Ward, and Reggie Wayne all got through. Thanks for throwing that up, Kobe. I forgot we had that. So they all advance on the wide receiver side. I'm just going to be frank with you guys. Maybe it's my bias here because Larry Fitzgerald was an all-time great Cardinal. He's the best of that wide receiver group. And Larry Fitzgerald, if any wide receiver goes in this year, it needs to be Larry Fitzgerald in his first year. Period. End of story. He's better than all those other receivers. End of story. So if a receiver goes in, it needs to be Larry Fitzgerald moving forward. The interesting thing to me in this, right, and it gets dwindled down. Frank Gore, no, sorry, bud. Longevity. I love the way he played. I love the way he fought. Not quite there. But the interesting to me, quite honest, frankly with you, is the quarterbacks. Eli Manning, in my eyes, is a Hall of Fame quarterback. What he did in the big games, had longevity, beat the best team in the league by far, twice in the Super Bowl, huge underdogs. To me, Eli Manning he's an on-the-cups Hall of Famer, Eli Manning is. But then his Super Bowl wins and the way he did them pushes him over the top for me. To me, Eli Manning, no, it wasn't a first ballot one, definitely not, but he does get into the Hall of Fame. He deserves to get into the Hall of Fame. That's my opinion on Eli Manning. Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers, though. Wow. Drew Brees, to me, Hall of Famer. Got the Super Bowl win. Just what the stats that he threw out there, the way the teams were, got screwed a couple times by the NFL. He's right there as a Hall of Famer. I do believe so. Now, is he one of the better quarterbacks to go in? No. Phillip Rivers? Whew. Very close to being a Hall of Famer, if not one. So the quarterback side of things is kind of interesting to me here moving forward. It would not shock me if Eli Manning gets in this year, and then, of course, you'll fight it out after that there. The bigger other ones there, Greg Olsen, loved him as a player, and Jason Witten, both, in my eyes, Hall of Fame tight ends. What do you do with those two first-timers going in this year? If I had to choose between them, to me, it's Witten gets in over Greg Olsen this year. Do they both get in? Does one get in? Do none get in? So some interesting dilemmas here coming up here, but Larry Fitzgerald makes it to the round of 52 is what I'll call it there as well. So they have to continue voting. They narrow it down some more. We'll have to keep. I mean, it'll be a shame if Larry Fitzgerald's not a finalist going into this, going into the final round here as a first-time ballot guy. I'd say Larry Fitzgerald, Jason Witten, and Eli Manning obviously need to be finalists, and Drew Brees. Probably Phillip Rivers. Should be finalists coming up from this. And we can debate the other names all day long. I know we're focusing on the new guys, the first eligible guys. But that's some pretty powerful names. First-time eligible here going into this season there. But Larry Fitzgerald moving on to 52, rightfully so. And then like a lot of talk is out there, and we'll wrap up the show kind of talking about this. By the way, Robert says, if you listen to Peyton closely, he always reveals who he is. Yeah, Sean. Okay. I don't know. Let me be sure on this. Sean Payton, I don't know at all. Never met him. Just heard stories about him. Just see the way he interacts on the field, etc. I know from some things I've heard what he does away from the football field. Not a good dude. I'll just put it that way. He's not a guy that just warms up to you and wants to hang out with you, and he's just a cool dude to shoot the crap with. Not that guy. And I'll say he's more Bountygate than he isn't. Meaning he's just riled up all the time, angry, my way or the highway type of an attitude, and stuff like that. More Bountygate than like a Pete Carroll. Let's put it that way. That's my opinion of him. Just gathered. I never met him, never talked to him. Just what I gather from things I've heard, stuff like that. Robert goes on to say, whether it's Bountygate or crossing the picket line, yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of controversies in his career. And then picking a fight with Russell. Like that was a message. He was sending a message to everybody that Russell Wilson was the problem in Denver, not him. And he might be right on that. But as a head coach, what do you gain from that other than your ego and your just nastiness comes out? And then just that apology there. It's just disgusting to watch that. Watch that happen. It would just be disgusting from there. Robert, I'll see if I can make this happen. I can tell you this, it won't happen next Thursday. My court appointment's at 7:30 in the morning, folks. Like I said, it's a civil matter. It has to do with the tenant not doing what the city wanted them to do. And as the owner of the property, or it's an LLC, they come after the owner. So I've got to go to court and do whatever. I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer handling it. But Robert's. So this I'll promise you. So next Thursday, as of now, this show will be dark because obviously Dale leaves. 7:30. I'm obviously not going to be able to handle that and then get here. So this show will be dark next Thursday if we have to go through to it. I have a lawyer that's working on some stuff, etc. But that's the plan as of now. Uncle Lou on next Friday. But I can tell you this. I promise you this, Robert. If it doesn't go my way and go sideways, I don't think this is an option, by the way, in terms of what'll happen. But Robert says a remote show from jail would be legendary. I'm gonna email the lawyer and say, hey man, just as a possibility, I'll tell the lawyer, whatever you need to do, whatever filing you need, that I have to do a remote show on Friday from jail. Just in case. That cracks me up, Robert. That would be legendary. We would be all over the place. We would get stuff that I generally don't want to happen, from that side. So, so basically a tenant liked to park cars on the front lawn. We couldn't, didn't pay rent. We had to evict them. We couldn't find them. They disappeared. They avoided everybody. It became a months-long thing. City of Mesa did not like the cars being on the driveway. Didn't send me any paperwork about it. Never saw anything about it. Didn't know all that. And next thing I know, I got a court date. And I get something sent to the mail to me. I got a court date. So got to go handle that. And tenants, be a little nicer, would you? Would you? Sheesh. Hey, anyway, we'll talk about that next week. I might have a novel story for you guys on Friday on how that goes, right? But Tua, yesterday, I'm watching some press conferences around the NFL. Right, and a lot of people say Jacoby Brissett was able to throw the ball across the middle of the field. Jacoby Brissett's a tall dude, if you don't know, as a quarterback. And a lot of people say Kyler Murray can't make those throws because he can't see over his lineman. And there's some credence to that. There's a lot of credence to that. I'm watching press conferences yesterday, and I'm not going to lie to you, I generally don't watch Miami Dolphins press conferences. I've started watching them a little bit more because Mike McDaniel just looks like a guy that's been through it and is just tired of it and ready to move on, right? Tua, kind of the same situation. And yesterday, Tua was asked about why he doesn't target Jalen Waddle very much, specifically in the Browns game as well. Pay attention. Now, Tua's a big dude. Jalen Waddle is not. He's a shorter guy. Listen to Tua's answer here on why he did not target Jalen Waddle, a short receiver, against the Browns. Here's Tua.
Yeah, I think with that, some of it has to do with being able to see guys, with their guys also up front and our guys. And I'm not the tallest guy in the back there either. So being able to see, and then, sometimes when that happens, you don't want to just throw it blindly.
I mean, and Tua's not extremely tall guy. He's not 6'7", anything to that effect. But Tua can see over the line and throw the ball across the middle. But you hear that? I couldn't see him. Couldn't see him back there. So I didn't throw to him. Couldn't see him on the other side. I didn't want to just throw it out there blindly. I instantly thought of all you Kyler Murray people, because I don't bring up his size very much, because it is what it is. There's nothing you could do about it. But obviously, you've seen what Jacoby Brissett been able to throw across the middle and hit guys, hit Zay Jones, right, across the middle as the linemen or defensive linemen in his face, et cetera, offensive linemen being pushed back. He's been able to do it. Kyler Murray does not throw the ball in the middle of the field too often. And then I'm sitting there just minding my own business, watching the Dolphins yesterday. Tua says, and I'll give you guys credit, you guys a lot of people talk about this. A lot of you Kyler Murray haters. He's too short, can't see the middle of the field. And there's credence to it. I'm not saying there's not. But you never hear anybody talk about that. And there's Tua yesterday. I couldn't see him. I'm not going to just throw the ball there, not knowing if he's there or not. I couldn't see him. Figured I'd end the show today giving you Kyler Murray haters, and I use that term endearingly, but, your Kyler Murray, people that don't like Kyler Murray and say he's too short and all that, give you some credence here. There you go. You've got some fodder for your argument of Kyler Murray struggling in the middle because of his size. Courtesy of Tua there at the Miami Dolphins, folks. Look at that. I'm a man of the people here as well. Trust me, there's credence to it. I know I'm being kind of sarcastic right now, but there's credence to it. You never hear anybody talk about it, and boom, Tua brings it up himself. Well, he was asked about it, but he brings it up himself, folks. Hey, I appreciate you joining me here on this, we'll call it the Steve McCollum Show today. Dale Hellestrade was here for the first half. Uncle Lou joining us tomorrow remotely. Of course, coming back from Vegas. We'll talk Abu Dhabi UFC this weekend. And all the NFL stuff. We'll know if the Vikings or Chargers win the game tonight. I just think, look at the Chargers tonight, folks, and look at the Chargers to be under, and look at the Chargers going into it. We'll see if I'm correct on this. I've had some good moments. I've had some bad moments on this stuff. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Appreciate you joining me. McCollum on Business coming up at 11. The Pit Stop coming up. Also, later today, we're going to record the Look Ahead show. Martinsville this weekend, and we're going to find out who the Final Four are. Just got my credentials emailed to me for NASCAR, so I'm good to go for next weekend. Out there, see some championship people getting crowned out there, and woo-wee, looking for fun of that. So look for the Pit Stop later. The Real Matrix, episode 5 is up. It was up yesterday at noon. Robat TV, the YouTube page, and of course, free podcast systems as well. Check out The Real Matrix with the Angry Patriots. New episode 5 is up out there. We'll see you later, everybody. Have a great one.